situation themselves do not cause feelings. The thoughts you have about the situation causes feelings. This is important that you understand because granted, we can only go based off of our past experiences, what our limited belief systems are. When you see a situation, you and I could see the same situation and I could be like, wow, I love that situation. You could see it and be like, oh my gosh, this is the worst situation ever. Neither one of us are wrong, right? And that's the thing, not just because people don't feel the same as you doesn't make them wrong. But you get caught up in blaming the situation. It's the feeling you have about the situation. Yes, and some of these things can be tragic and traumatic. Absolutely. But I just want you to get clear that things are as they are. They're not good. They're not bad. They just are. I mean, that's just how that is. Life in general is not good. It's not bad. It just is. We as humans and our experiences and how we see things in our belief systems is what determines how we respond to it. Okay. Now, some of those responses might not even be yours, right? You've heard me say this before. It could be, well, we don't do this in this house. That's not right. That's not how we live our lives here. So if you're doing that, that's wrong, right? So then you get in your headspace. Now you see the situation. Now your reaction is like, oh, I kind of like it, but I'm not supposed to like it because it's wrong. You see what I mean? So it's going to get in your head. And that's why you have to get very, very careful and not just look at it from the situation. Look at it from the perspective of like, let me give an example of that. I think I've even used this example before. Let's say your bestie or one of your friends tried online dating. They just were like, oh, I had a horrible time online dating. It was just, for whatever reason, just didn't work out for them. And you decide, okay, I'm going out in the dating world today. I am going to get on online dating. And you happen to, don't go telling everybody everything either. And everybody doesn't need to know everything. But for whatever reason you do, right? You end up telling somebody and they go, oh God, I don't think I'd do that. Ooh, that was a nightmare for me. You never ask them for their feedback. If you said, hey, what do you think about it? Fine. Then you're opening up the door to say, yeah, well, what did you think about it? You're not saying that. So their situation with online dating might not have gone the way that they wanted it to go. Okay. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be a bad situation for you. So you have to be careful of allowing a situation to dictate what your behavior is. Okay. And that's why healing your past traumas and working through those things is going to be beneficial because you're not just going to avoid them all because of the social anxiety, right? You're going to deal with the deeper root to the social anxiety. The social anxiety is the symptom. The root is deeper, right? So again, remember, very often you're trying to treat the symptom, trying to treat the anxiety, trying to treat this here, but you have to go beneath the surface. You have to, because if you don't go beneath the surface, you're always going to be treating the symptom. And then you're going to be like, well, why is this happening? Every time I get in this situation, it's always happening because you still haven't treated the root cause. It's kind of like I say to you, if I send in an organizer, I called Home Edit and Marie Kondo and everybody else that does the organization and sent them to your house. And they had you completely set up, super edited. Everything is great, but you really haven't changed your behaviors. That's going to be good for a little bit. You're not going to maintain it all the time though, because you don't have that capability of creating it in a way that you know that you're not going to repeat those same behaviors, right? It's like having a house cleaner come in, clean your home, and you go, oh my God, it looks so good, but you haven't changed your behaviors. So again, it goes situationally. I just don't want you to get too caught up in going, I feel, okay, you feel this way because this is how you're seeing it through the lens in which you're wearing. Then that goes into expectations. Well, I see the situation different. I would have called this person. I would have called my mom. They didn't call me. They don't have to. Again, you gotta stop with the projection of what it is that you're seeking outside of somebody, outside of yourself. Because very often what we look for in others is what we lack inside of ourselves. I mean, that's just a fact. You're typically looking for something. Yes, we're human creatures. Yes, we require human interaction and interpersonal skills. Correct. Yes, in relationships. Yes, we do. But not at the expense of saying, you have to do this because you're my biological child. So you got to get caught up. You got to stop getting caught up in these situations and then attaching a feeling to it and going, well, my feelings were hurt because they didn't call me. That's not really what you're upset about. You think it's because they didn't call you. It's a deeper rooted issue. Is it because you're like, well, gosh, I've done so much for them. Okay, now you got to check yourself again. Now we go into ego. If you're going to do something kind for someone, you do it because you choose to do it, not with an expectation in return, right? So let's say you're a grandparent and you start watching your grandkids a lot and you go, God, I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. Okay, well, put up a boundary. Say, no, I'm not going to watch the grandkids today. And then you go, oh, but they're my grandkids and I want to see them. Well, you can't have it both ways. Pick and choose, baby. Pick and choose. Right? You can say, okay, fine. I can watch them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, just not 5 days a week. They can take it or leave it. See, you get too caught up in the situation. Things are as they are. They are not good. They are not bad. They just are. And then we attach what our belief systems are. That's why you have people in the world that believe differently, because it has to be that way. Could you imagine if everybody believed the same thing? In your mind, you think it would be good? No, you need adversity. You have to have it. Unfortunately, you have to have even the chaos. Even the ignorance and things like that. There's a reason it's there. It teaches resilience. It teaches tolerance. It teaches a lot of things. Is it fair? No. But if you get caught up in fairness and justice, you're going to live in fairness and justice. And then you're going to get upset that it's not fair and just. And guess what? Life in general is not fair and just. That's why you have boundaries, because you can't prevent other people's actions. And then you going into situations and attaching a feeling to it, your feelings get hurt because somebody says, no, they don't want you to come over to the pool. I don't know. I have a pool. So I was thinking that no, I'm not going to have people over the pool. It's just going to be me today. And then you get your feelings hurt. Well, that's for you to process. It's not for the person to feel bad because they didn't invite you to the pool. They might not want you there for the day. That's okay. But then you're upset with the situation. And that's where you have a hard time letting go. You have a hard time letting go because you want the situation to be different than as it is versus accepting it as it is. And you've attached a feeling to it based on the thoughts you have about that situation. How do you do that? How do you get out of that? You start working on yourself. You start being the person that you need first. You fill your voids first, not the other people around you. You cannot keep doing that. That expectation is going to sink you. And then you're going to say, well, every time now everything gets big, always, never, and every time. Every time I do this, I get smacked down, whatever. I get cut down or whatever. Okay. Every time I do this. Okay. First is every time because you've done it like 3 times. Calm down. And you're attaching a feeling and a fear to a situation based on an experience. You got to embrace the unknown. The unknown is where everything amazing lives. Good, bad, or indifferent. Either amazing or lessons learned. It is phenomenal. And that's what you have to wrap your head around, because if not, you're going to keep saying that it's the situation that has hurt your feelings. No, the thoughts you have about the situation, the expectations you have about the situation, the experience you have about the situation. But then you have to be really careful about that projection. Don't project that on somebody else. Just because you had a bad experience with online dating, don't sit there and carry on a crusade and, oh my God, all online dating is bad. You're not the judge and jury of that. You had a bad experience. That doesn't mean everybody else will. And then you get in your headspace. Well, why does everybody else have a good experience except for me? Now we're doing that everybody and always and never and no one. You can't do that. That's your mindset, and that's going from a trauma survival response. So you got to take a deep breath in. You got to let it out. And you got to look at the situation and let the situations that bother you, that trigger you, tell you what it's trying to tell you. It's not trying to tell you that the situation itself is dangerous or bad. It's trying to tell you, hey, these are areas that you still need to work on. See, you avoid your triggers. Your triggers are your friends because they tell you, hey, don't forget, you still have this area to work on. So don't get too caught up in your feelings about a situation. Remember, it's the thought you have about that situation.